Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another weekly astrology forecast. I hope the background is not too distracting. This was the only spot where I could get proper lighting. I am staying at my cousin's apartment, so I'm traveling. And so this is also why the setup is a little different and why it's going to be just a little more casual this time around, which when I've done astrology forecasts while I've been traveling, usually do better just because I don't know, there's like a different vibe, a different energy that comes through. So, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Laura Chung. I am a Western tropical astrologer. And yeah, we're just going to go through the week and see what to expect in the astrological weather. So, I'm actually filming this on May 12th, which is the full moon in Scorpio. And this is a big one, and I've mentioned this several times now since the new moon in Taurus that we had 2 weeks ago. This is such a potent energetic time of release, letting go, and also transmutation and transformation. So the full moon will be at 22 degrees of Scorpio. It will be exact at 12:55 p.m. Eastern time. And at the same time, Mercury in Taurus, actually, I should say same day, Mercury in Taurus will square Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 3 degrees. So if you have fixed sign placements in and around 19 degrees to 25 degrees, you will feel this full moon the most. The moon is the moon symbolizes our body, our emotions. We are 75% water, and the moon has influence over the tides of the earth. And so, because we also are water, anytime we have full moons, the emotions kind of churn up in our bodies in order for us to feel, witness, and then ultimately let go. And when you don't do that practice, it's when you start repressing your emotions, when things just start to bottle up. So I like to have a monthly practice of crying, of just crashing out if I need to, which I already did last week. um, and just like really allowing yourself to feel, because you never want that to build up over time to the point where you just have this massive explosion, especially with the, I guess, like the change that we are witnessing in the collective. I personally believe it's the change we've been asking for. Um, it's the change in which we've been asking for, but it's going to happen in a way that might not be what you desire or want in your life. But change and rebirth and death, these are very nervous system breaking, nervous system triggering moments. And 2025 and 2026 are just going to be years where collectively we are all witnessing the death of empire, the death of the old structures. And you see that with certain people in power. Okay, we'll say like the 1% who hold all the wealth and power in the world. They're trying to hold on to it with their grip, right? So fixed signs, love y'all. I have fixed sign placements. I also have a Jupiter placement. I mean, a Jupiter placement. I have my Jupiter in Scorpio, so I have a Scorpio placement. Fixed signs often don't want to change, or they will change at their own pace. But sometimes when there is divine timing, or you've asked for something and you haven't cleared, so then the universe, spirit, God, goddess, Allah, whoever you believe in, steps in to remove that thing from your life that you no longer need. It's not aligned anymore, for you to create space for the thing that you've been calling in. And that's what I've been telling my clients these last 2 weeks, because a lot of fixed sign placement clients have been coming to me because they can kind of feel that something's changing, but obviously none of us truly know or can predict what those are. And I always say, just think about the things you've been praying for. Just think about the things that you've been asking for that aren't currently in your life. What is being asked is to surrender to the unknown and surrender that maybe, just maybe, the thing that you are afraid to let go of now is the very thing that you will see as a blessing later on. And because you don't have that full picture, you don't have the widened view as spirit, God, goddess would see, that you have to trust in that. You have to trust that there are forces out there that are here for your highest good, ancestors, right? Spirit guides who do this with love, who are saying, yo, like, you need to let that shit go. So this is very much the energy of the full moon in Scorpio. So I'm going to share the screen so we could break it down. I hope you can see this. There we go. Okay, so a full moon happens, just some astrology 101, when the sun, so we are in Taurus season still, and here you have Taurus at 20, Taurus, the sun in Taurus at 22 degrees. You could already hear me having my Mercury square Pluto moment. Like I'm tripping over my words. Opposite the moon. So the sister sign to Taurus is Scorpio. And here we have the moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees. Full moons are always oppositions. And so the two luminaries are opposite each other. So Taurus is all about, it's a fixed earth sign ruled by Venus. And so Taurus is all about what you can see, like the green leaves on a tree. It's the flower that buds. It's earth energy. It's the blooms that come out in the spring. It's everything that is embodied and material and real. You can also say that it's money because money is a value that we've placed on something kind of neutral. And it's ruled by Venus, which is about worth and value. So a lot of people equate Taurus energy to money, prosperity, abundance, and Scorpio being non-attached. It's this feeling that there is something beautiful about allowing things to decompose, and that decomposition is the fertile soil for things to grow, but you need to allow that cycle to happen. And Scorpio is Mars, it's ruled by Mars, and it's a fixed water sign. Now, the moon is fallen in Scorpio because the moon actually, because the moon is exalted in Taurus, it's fallen in Scorpio. And what this means is the moon kind of is not able to do the thing that the moon wants with the resources that it has in Scorpio. Let me try to explain that. So when the moon is in its home sign of Cancer, it has all the resources that the moon can to feel and birth things, right? I feel like the moon in Cancer is like this embiotic sac where all the nutrition and all of the environment of the embryonic sac is conducive to growth, right? And when the moon is exalted in Taurus, it's the same thing. There's fertile soil, there's sunlight, there's water. The conditions for growth are perfect. Whereas when the moon is in Scorpio, it has to traverse the terrain of Mars, which is separation. It's wanting to go after your desires. So Scorpio moons are often people who okay, I'm going to say the light and shadow aspects. Notice how I'm saying light and dark and not good or bad, because this isn't good or bad. It's just how you express these energies. So the light attributes of a Scorpio moon are these people are intense and magnetic. And you just feel like it's kind of like vampire energy, like glamour magic. and you just don't know why you're attracted to them, but you are. It's not even like their physical attributes, but like their aura and their energy. They also have Scorpio placements in general just have this like pulling in energy, but also like these deep, intense eyes. I've had a lot of experience with Scorpio placements. So those are the light attributes. The shadow attributes can speak of someone who's kind of obsessed, but not in a good way, um, jealous, and revenge, like want revenge, you know? So those are the light and dark attributes of a Scorpio moon. Now, when we have a full moon, some of those dark attributes might come up to the surface. Like you might be just obsessed with something. You just might like literally takes over your mind. It lives in your head rent free. And you don't necessarily know why, right? You just are. And this full moon might actually show you why. It might actually reveal to you why, the root cause. You might feel jealous, or you might be like, why me? Why out of all of my friends and family have I not had the success or the material success that I've always wanted? Like what am I doing wrong? Essentially, you know? You might also feel like resentment, a bitterness. Again, these are all dark aspects of a Scorpio moon, but they need to come up to the surface for you to understand the why. Because you don't want to repress emotions. Like I said, in psychology, repression then projects out. So I always say on full moons, I know with like capitalism, this is a Monday, so people have to work, right? But I always like to say, like, carve out some time, even like 20 minutes to just journal and like sit with your feelings, sit with what's coming up, and don't judge at all. Just sit with it and ask yourself, why is this coming up? Why am I feeling this way? And just start doing some like questioning, asking yourself questions, just get curious. And then when you get to the root cause, hopefully with the energies that are present here today on this full moon, you'll get to the root cause. And then you could just start to integrate that. There is nothing wrong with being jealous. Sometimes you feel jealous. These are real human emotions. Sometimes you're obsessed with something and you're like, why? You know? Um, Especially if you have fixed sign placements. Like this is a fixed sign, like sky today. Um, so, like I said, the other thing happening here is Mercury in Taurus is square, which is a 90-degree angle. This is kind of contentious. It's kind of a conflict aspect with Pluto in Aquarius, which is retrograde. Now, when Pluto is retrograde, some of this stuff might be coming out anyway. You're reflecting on Pluto's journey in your Aquarius whole sign house. So you've made some progress there with looking at your shadows, looking at power dynamics, looking at control, right? And square to Mercury is, you know, some of these these obsessive thought patterns might be coming up to the surface, or the way you communicate. You might be having like an argument with somebody and they trigger you, and you ask yourself, why is this triggering me? When I've been working on this for like years in therapy, well, maybe that fuse is still a live wire, and it's something that you need to tend to. So all of this work, right? Like noticing, paying attention, it requires you to slow down. It requires you to not be distracted, to fully listen. And because we live in this time now where there's so much distraction, there's so many ways in which you can disassociate and go off into a delulu space. It's like to actually be intentional and to carving out time to do this work is the challenge, I think. So actually, let me talk about the Seven of Cups. So this full moon is happening in the third decan of Scorpio, and that is represented by the Seven of Cups in the tarot, and this is Venus in Scorpio. So, and also ruled by the moon. So it's in Cancer's triplicity, which also makes it more emotional. Emotional can mean so many different things for so many people. It can literally be crying. It can be like rage. It could be anger. It could be crashing out. It could be having a mental breakdown or just a breakdown and feeling like burnt out. But the Seven of Cups is like that energy I was talking about of like having so many things going on and you're like confused and you're just like, what is the path for me? Like, what am I supposed to be doing at this moment? And this is why it's so important too to like create space and ask yourself, what is the one thing I can focus on right now? And does all of the things I'm doing, do all of the things I'm doing actually, like, do I even want to continue with that? Now, cups energy again is emotional fulfillment. It could be relationships. It could be just like your own emotional body. The Seven of Cups also talks about choices, having a lot of choices and um like being confused about which one you want to pick. Now, all the sevens in tarot talk about overcoming an obstacle. So this is a good sign that like, you know, if you had felt confused about something or you didn't know which like road to take, you could get clarity on this full moon. And the clarity will come to some as maybe a shock, just because um, the sun is also pretty much in a conjunction. Like it's a 4-degree orb, but the sun in Taurus is applying to a conjunction with Uranus and Taurus. Now, there is a part of your life, right? The Taurus whole sign house that has been undergoing a change for 7 years. And that's Uranus's transit through every house. So just think back to 2018, what you seeded at that moment, what was happening from 2018 to now, because Uranus has been trying to break you free, liberate yourself, have epiphanies, revelations from the Taurus house of yours. So, for example, if you are a Taurus rising, this is your first house, this is your body, this is breaking you free of your self-concept, your body image, how you show up in the world. And it's trying to help you break that free. Now it's a 7-year transit. So it's not like these epiphanies just come and it's like, oh, okay. It's something that it's a continuous journey of understanding the Taurus part of your chart and it needing to break free, right? Because also Taurus is the most fixed sign of the zodiac. It's literally fixed earth. It's like I'm standing here, I'm sitting here and I'm resisting change so much. Like I don't want to move. I don't, and it's Taurus is also about safety and security. And Taurus people usually don't make the change until they're either forced to or something like they finally feel safe in the ways that they need to make this change. So the fact that this full moon is opposing Uranus and full moons bring revelations, there is something surprising. Somebody asked me, a client of mine asked me last week, is it a good or bad thing? Now, again, I don't speak in terms of good or bad because what I might perceive as good might be bad for you or vice versa. So I always say that I believe in my spiritual practice that everything happens for our highest good, whether we see that in the moment or not, is I think how we experience or internalize good or bad events. But I think that whatever shocking revelation or news or it could just also be an epiphany. Like it doesn't have to be so like monumentally life-changing as like you get fired from your job or you go through a breakup unexpectedly. It could just be so like it could be significant in the way that it's just an epiphany in your head. Like you found out something about yourself and you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I have been treating myself this way. And I just I refuse to keep living like this. It's something like that. But because Mercury is squaring Pluto, I feel like some information, communication, email, text message, conversation, or something that you become information that you become privy to that was previously hidden, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, you have this shock, you have this awakening, you have this revelation, and it's the thing that sets you free. It's the thing that liberates you so that now you could like emotionally move on. The ruler of this moon is Mars in Leo, which is officially out of its shadow. So we are officially done with the Mars retrograde story, and it's making new it's going through new degrees that we haven't experienced yet this year. So I think it's interesting that Mars in Leo is about courageousness. It is about having the bravery to stand up for yourself. And it was also Mars was making a trine to Venus and Aries. So there's like a good amount of, I would say, earth energy, water energy, fire energy, air energy in the sky to like kind of support different aspects of our life. On May 16th, Venus will be out of its shadow. Finally, the Venus retrograde story is also going to be over. This will be at 10 degrees. On May 17th, the sun in Taurus will make its conjunction to Uranus at 27 degrees. Now, this day is going to be also impactful because it's essentially like a Uranus cazimi when the sun and Uranus come together. This could also be another day of just revelation and surprises, and just like I think of Uranus as like the planet also of invention and technology. Maybe some new social media platform is announced that day, fingers crossed, right? Or just new like a currency, because ever since Uranus transited through Taurus in 2018, that's when crypto became and Bitcoin became more like, I guess, like just in the zeitgeist. But maybe another currency will pop off. I'm also thinking that, like, I didn't do the research in dates, but I know the European Union, they have the euro to make one currency. I'm wondering if either they break that or something about currency is coming up. Like some, maybe there's going to be a new currency, like a global currency, for example. So on May 18th, Mercury in Taurus will square Mars in Leo at 13 degrees. And this is another aspect of conflict with ideas, conflict with information, communication. This is a day to look out for because usually when Mercury makes a tense aspect to Mars, this could lead to also car accidents, just like conflict with people and like arguing, and you just have to choose your battles, because I feel like sometimes the argument needs to happen, to be honest. Like I've read books about nonviolent communication and like how to speak to somebody in a like not a passive way, but just a conversational way when you don't agree with somebody. But that all goes out the window when you're in the heat of the moment. You know what I mean? So it's like, just try to do your best. But I would watch out for May 18th, just to be careful too, because you also don't want to say anything that you can't take back. Because on the same day, Jupiter and Gemini will square the North Node in Pisces at 25 degrees. Now, I actually really like that when a planet it's called in the bends. It's when a planet is square to the nodes. I have that natally with my Saturn. And this is like and also because Jupiter is the ruler of the North Node, this could be, again, just like a fated meeting, a fated conversation that you're having, or like an epiphany. There's something about this day that is also standing out to me. It could also just be like a lot of information sharing. I'm trying to think of like the positive, the positive like ways that Mercury can square Mars. It's like um sharing information, like a battle cry, a call to action for people to take action. I think that could be the positive use of this energy instead of just arguing with people. So overall, this week is, I feel like it's going to be so cathartic. Honestly, that's how I feel. I feel it's going to be cathartic. It's going to be healing. I recommend doing some kind of full moon ritual. I'm about to do that later today with some friends. Tell each other what you want to release, share your feelings. And the only way to combat what we're going through collectively, right? Like it's not just in the US, but all over the world, is through community and through investing in each other. So, as always, please stay safe. And um, I'm always praying for the collective on here. And happy full moon. Bye.